This mysterious photo, which was first taken in 1919, was first published in 1975 by Sir Victor Goddard. The photo is a group portrait of Goddard's squadron, which had served in World War I at the HMS Douglas training facility. However, those with a keen eye can see a ghostly face that appears in the background. In the back of the airman position on the top row, the mysterious man can be seen. It's said to be the face of Freddie Jackson. Jackson was an air mechanic who'd come to an unfortunate end. This happened when he was accidentally killed by an aeroplane propeller 2 days earlier. His funeral had taken place on the day this photograph was taken. Members of the squadron easily recognised the face as Jackson's. It's been suggested that Jackson, unaware of his death, decided to show off the group photo. Some paranormal enthusiasts who have seen the photo suggest this could have been a residual haunting. Residual hauntings generally perform repetitive actions. For example, a ghostly figure walking up the same set of stairs each night, or the sound of an eerie cry in the night on a remote bridge. These types of ghosts do not interact with the living on an intelligent level. They may not even be aware of the existence of the living, and they've often been compared to a recording that just continues to repeat over and over again. Others have come forward and suggested the person in the photo is the result of an exposure, but the general belief is that the photo is genuine. However, some think this story goes deeper than the photo. In 1935, Sir Victor Goddard flew his open cockpit biplane from Scotland to England on weekend leave. On the way back, he passed over Drem Airfield near Edinburgh, which had been constructed during World War I. The tarmac and 4 hangars were in despair, and barbed wire divided the field into numerous pastures filled with grazing cattle. Returning home a day later, Goddard ran into a violent storm and lost control of his plane. When he finally recovered from a downward spiral, he was just several feet above a stony beach. As Goddard climbed back through the rain and fog, the sky suddenly filled with sunlight. Below him was the Drem Airfield, only the farm had disappeared, and the hangars were no longer in despair. At the end of the restored tarmac stood 4 bright yellow planes, one an unfamiliar monoplane. These were surrounded by mechanics in blue overalls. Some have suggested the photo and the story could somehow be linked, and that Victor Goddard is somehow sensitive to the paranormal. So what do you guys think? Could Goddard, who is the senior commander in the Royal Air Force, been confused about his location, or had he travelled forward in time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. NASA's current and future Earth missions use the vantage point of space to understand and explore our home planet, improve lives and safeguard our future. NASA brings together technology, science and unique global Earth observations to provide societal benefits and strengthen our nation. In the past 10 years, NASA has made some incredible discoveries, and one that has left people scratching their heads is this alleged creature. Several websites have featured the image, but I can't seem to find much information about it. One website claimed that a NASA satellite captured the image from deep space, and that it shows a massive object that currently has not been identified. The strange shape does not seem to resemble a planet, but more a biological entity. Some have suggested it could be an extreme bioform not affected by the vacuum of space. In other words, this could be a free-floating organic compound capable of intelligence. One reader had this to say about the photograph. The image looks like what it shows, a bug. I think we are too easy to dismiss things that we discover. We sometimes limit ourselves to what we know, and we don't have a wider view of vision. There is so much out there that we don't know. The universe is massive. Who's to say there isn't creatures floating around in the vastness of space? In 2012, Dr. Franklin Rill, an American ufologist and cryptozoologist with a PhD in theoretical nuclear physics, shared his opinions about xeroids in an article for the Huffington Post. He said the following: "Considering that our alien universe is approximately 13.7 billion years old, it's conceivable that xeroids represent the earliest forms in the cosmic backdrop, perhaps even existing for nearly that entire time. With such a long span of time at their disposal, xeroids could easily have trod many different evolutionary paths." He is suggesting that these ancient organic beings could be found throughout the entire universe, and have adapted to different conditions of life. He suggests that such creatures can vary from the utterly simple to the extraordinarily complex. They take various shapes and sizes and can have a solitary life, as well as a life inside vast colonies. He also speculates that larger entities might possibly feast upon smaller ones, a theory similar to what we call the food chain here on Earth, but on a universal scale. So what do you guys make of this photo? And do you think there could be creatures living in space? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. When you think of Egypt, many will picture the pyramids, and that's no surprise. They make us question how people thousands of years ago built these incredible structures. Even with cranes, helicopters, tractors and trucks at our disposal, it would be tough to construct the Great Pyramid of Giza today. Its construction 4,500 years ago is so astounding in some people's eyes that they invoke mystical or even alien involvement. However, it's not just the pyramids that are shrouded in mystery. The Great Sphinx of Giza is a giant 4,500-year-old limestone statue situated in the Great Pyramid in Giza. The incredible structure measures 240 feet long and 66 feet high. This makes the Great Sphinx one of the world's largest monuments. It's also one of the most recognizable relics of the ancient Egyptians, though the origins and history of the colossal structure are still debated. In 1987, a team from the Japanese University of Waseda discovered tunnels and cameras inside the Sphinx. If we take a look at the Sphinx today, and compare it to extremely old and rare images of the monument when it's still covered in sand, we will notice numerous interesting details which point to the possibility of an underground world. The entire Sphinx was excavated in 1925 to 1936. It was during this excavation that some of the most interesting photos were taken. These images showed numerous cavities, entrances and what appear to be tunnels, that according to many leads below this ancient monument. The Japanese specialists had discovered something incredible. The investigators showed there were many chambers running beneath the Sphinx. Several photos as well as scientific survey data indicate there's a strong possibility there are shafts and passageways leading towards unexplained chambers underneath the Sphinx. Old photographs of the structure show numerous anomalies that were uncovered by later restorations, but many have asked the question of why these were covered up, a question that remains unanswered. This is a rare image of the Sphinx taken from a hot air balloon in the early 19th century. This was before excavation and restoration had begun. You can see what looks like a huge hole located on the head of the Sphinx. The mystery deepened when the age of the Sphinx was announced. If the estimated age of the Sphinx is even approximately correct, then it predates all Egyptian history, which would mean that another advanced race was there before Egypt even got started. California is no stranger to UFO sightings. It's been suggested that over the last few years in California there's been a huge rise in UFO sightings. On the 23rd of May 2018, a witness spotted 3 bright objects with varying degrees of altitude over Lathrop, California. They were similar in size, shape and colour. The eyewitness account was submitted to MoveOn. The eyewitness said the following about their encounter. I headed out for an evening walk heading south. As I approached a street corner to turn west, I noticed the first object above my head over the streetlight about 45 degrees above the horizon. I took the first photo. As I turned the corner, it came lower and I took a second. As I approached the next street corner to turn west, I noticed the second object descending from approximately 60 degrees above the horizon to approximately 45 degrees above an elementary school, at which point I took another picture. As I continued walking north, I noticed the first object at a higher elevation behind me, while the second object seemed to hover and then follow a northerly path at my pace. The object stopped when I stopped at stop signs. Then as I approached the city hall, I noticed the first helicopter approaching from the northwest, flashing blue and red lights at slow speed, and was joined by another helicopter coming from the southeast. Both helicopters flew adjacent to one another, and flew south and then turned to head north to approach the object from behind and beneath. Before continuing north, I stopped to watch the encounter, and then when the helicopters flew north out of sight or turned their lights off, I continued walking north. The object continued as well at my pace. As I approached the light signal, the object briefly accelerated and stopped at the next corner. When I caught up, I had a thought come into my mind to walk into a large field to my west. When I did, the object descended over the field, and I took the full photo. It hovered and pulsated there for a couple of minutes, before I noticed the helicopters approaching again from the north. This time the helicopters flew low and then quickly ascended to approach the object, and then I could really tell the scale of the object which dwarfed the two helicopters. The helicopters flew back to the north and east and the object remained stationary. It was then that I noticed the first object was still behind me, but at approximately 60 degrees and south on the horizon. I took one last photo of the second object as it brightened before continuing on a north path, and then I headed home. It's important to remember that UFO means unidentified flying object, so this could be anything that an individual can't identify in the sky. So what do you guys think the man encountered? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.